Hi, my name is Eleanor Sandys. I am a public art project manager at the Regional Arts and Culture Council in Portland, Oregon. Welcome to today's information session. This information session is about the City Fleet Public Art Project. We are focused on two separate art opportunities at the City Fleet facilities on Swan Island in North Portland. These opportunities are for gates as well as sculpture. And I'm happy to share this information with you. Please feel free to come back and watch portions of the video if you find it helpful as you're working on your application. So today I will share some information about RAC as well as City Fleet and the project background. We'll be looking at the particular art opportunities for the gates and sculpture. I'll review the selection process for how artists will be selected, as well as go over the specifics of how to apply for these opportunities. Before we get too far along into the presentation, I do want to point out to you that much of the information that I'm presenting today can also be found in the request for qualifications for this opportunity. That's request for qualifications, RFQ, is what we use to refer to our calls to artists. You can find that information on RAC's website. If you go to the homepage and click on that news menu, and then click on opportunities at RAC. You can find all the information about these calls. I also want to emphasize that we are here to support everybody in our community who would like to apply for this opportunity. If you do need or appreciate assistance, I can be contacted at esandys@rac.org. I can help you with technical assistance, navigating the application portal, as well as preparing attachments for your application. RAC can also offer other services, including translation, large print materials or print materials in alternate formats, interpretation services, as well as process accommodation for people with disabilities. All right, so getting back to background about the organizations that are partnering on this call, as well as the call itself. The Regional Arts and Culture Council, also known as RAC, is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our mission is to enrich our communities through arts and culture. Our primary communities are within the Portland metro area. RAC provides grants for artists and arts organizations. We manage a nationally acclaimed public art program. RAC offers workshops and technical assistance. And we also build community support through advocacy and engagement. Our public art program is multifaceted. RAC works with public and private clients to acquire and care for public art in our region. We are on contract to manage the public art programs and collections for the City of Portland as well as Multnomah County. This project at City Fleet is funded through the City of Portland's Percent for Art ordinance, and the artwork commissioned through this project will be owned by the City of Portland. Our partner that we're working very closely with on this project is CityFleet. CityFleet is part of the City of Portland's Division of Asset Management within city operations. They are responsible for acquiring, for maintaining, repairing, and disposing of all city-owned vehicles and related equipment. They provide safe, reliable, affordable, and clean vehicles and equipment to all of City of Portland bureaus. And there are about 83 staff members that perform many different aspects of City Fleet functions, from acquisition to parts management, maintenance, repair, and decommissioning services. And this is for over 150 types of vehicles and specialized equipment. This project is a very significant project for City Fleet. It moves City Fleet from the Kirby Garage, which is and was the city's first public works building, which was built in 1922. You can see some historical images of Kirby Garage here on the slide. And so this will be a significant upgrade for City Fleet. Their new home will be in an existing warehouse on Swan Island that is being renovated into a vehicle maintenance facility. Swan Island is located on the Willamette River in North Portland. At this same site, there's also office space for CityFleet's administrative headquarters. To provide you some neighborhood context, you are seeing an image here, a very historical image, because the island has changed quite a bit with development. Swan Island is primarily an industrial setting. CityFleet's neighbors include FedEx, the Swan Island Wholesale Flower Market. Next door is Portland Community College's Swan Island Trade Center, and another neighbor is Melita's Beverage. Swan Island has been an important historical site for Portland's industry, as well as indigenous peoples of the area before white settlement. Those peoples included and do include the Multnomah, Clackamas, and Cowlitz peoples. Here you are seeing a map of Swan Island. That Swan Island area is kind of has a little gray fog over it in this image. And all those white buildings are all those white symbols are buildings on the island. The one that has an orange circle around it is the facility that we're talking about right now and today. This is an image of that building. So the area to your left has a red line around it. That is the Cutter Garage, the vehicle maintenance facility with surrounding parking and landscaping. The other orange arrow towards the upper right is pointing to where City Fleet office headquarters are located. The road that runs in front of these two buildings is North Cutter Circle. So today we are looking at art opportunities for two different art opportunities. One is for gates. This is to create permanent artwork that will attach to the aluminum framing or chain link elements of one or both of two functional gates. The second art opportunity is for a sculpture. This is a large-scale sculpture that will welcome staff and visitors to City Fleet and will also provide an art experience on Swan Island. And it's important to note here that you may apply to either of these opportunities or both of them using the same application. In the future, we also anticipate additional calls, and that will include one this fall as well as two more in the spring. Those will be an interior wall treatment or mural for the office headquarters, a large-scale exterior mural for the Cutter Garage, and a wall graphic that will be printed on an interior wall of Cutter Garage. So stay tuned for more art opportunities. There are art goals that have been put together by the project design team and the art selection panel. These goals apply to all of the art opportunities. The artwork created for City Fleet's Swan Island facilities should meet one or more of these goals. Those goals are contributing to an inviting space that evokes a sense of well-being for staff and visitors, evoking a sense of place, which could include natural, historical, industrial, or cultural themes, honoring the legacy of industry and trade workers, recognizing City Fleet's key role in essential functions of the city, and taking inspiration from a technologically advanced future. So again, not hoping that that an artwork will meet all of these goals, but really looking for work that does align with at least one of them. And now we're going to focus more on the gates opportunity. As you can imagine, vehicle movement and security are essential functions of the City Fleet facility. There will be two functional gates that are noted in orange on the plan that you can see on the slide. These will open to enable movement of vehicles into and out of the facility while also making sure that those parked inside are secure. These gates will be publicly viewable from Cutter Circle, and they're also going to benefit the drivers and mechanics that access the facility. The artist is responsible for all aspects of design and fabrication, as well as delivering and installing the artwork. And the project team will work very closely with the artist to make sure that any requirements for security or weight limitations will be met. And the budget for the gates is $150,000. I would note too that this artwork could be for both of the gates or just one of them. That's to be determined as the artist is selected and works through their design proposal. This is an image of the existing gate that is already on site. Um, there will be two gates. One is existing, one is to be built. The one in this image, the existing gate is about 39 feet wide and 6 feet high. The new gate, which hasn't been built yet, will be about 23 feet wide and 6 feet high. Both gates are aluminum framed with chain link. The intention is that the second gate will be similar to the existing gate, but because it hasn't been built yet, it may be modified to enable more potential design opportunities for the selected artist. And here you are looking at an image of the approximate location of the second planned gate. The road that you see at the left of the image is North Cutter Circle. This image is from North Cutter Circle looking towards the Cutter Garage. And this kind of gives you an idea of the relationship of the two gates. So you can't quite see the existing gate. It's to the left of this photo. And then the approximate location of the second planned gate is towards the right. Between these two gates is a chain link fence, and that fence will be staying there. There is an option for the selected artist to also add some design elements for the chain link fencing between the two gates, although the primary artwork would be on those gates themselves. And so these are some images of other gates and fencing artwork. I do want to emphasize these are just ideas. I'm sure that you and other artists will bring ideas that the project team hasn't thought about at all. I think by bringing these different ideas, also, I wanted to point out that there are different options for what materials might be. Examples of these include what you see on the left here, which is an artist that painted works that were then digitally printed on vinyl for that screening fence at a pool. And then in the upper right is a powder-coated aluminum fence, also attached to aluminum framing, kind of similar to this project. And then the lower right image, this artwork actually isn't a permanent artwork, but I think it can give an idea of what some kind of cut aluminum or other material could look like. And now moving on to the second art opportunity, which is sculpture. There are two identified areas for sculpture placement. We're calling those the sculpture zones. And these are along the landscaped areas along North Cutter Circle. The two available zones for sculpture are approximately 20 feet by 15 feet by 15 feet. These are both highly visible from the public road and regularly viewed by those going in and out of the Cutter Garage. And just pointing out that in line with the art goals, the siting of the sculpture near the garage is a way to recognize and honor the industry and trade workers at CityFleet Garage. Similarly to the sculpture, the artists will be responsible for design and fabrication, delivery of the artwork to the site, installation of the artwork, as well as a base for the sculpture. There's going to be one sculpture, but at this point, there's still two possible zones for where that sculpture will be located. This is an image of Zone 1. To the left of this image is the existing gate that we saw earlier. If this zone was selected for the sculpture, there would be a plan to move that sign to the other side of the driveway. And this is as people approach Cutter Garage or go further down to the road to other businesses. So this is a fairly public area in terms of the site. Another area along North Cutter, this is zone 2. You can see this is a little bit more open of an area. And this is the view of that same area from the parking lot. This here you see some images of that inspired the project design team. There was quite a lot of bit of talk about the parallels between the technical skills and work of the mechanics that were working in the garage and the overlap with those artists who working in metal and sculpture. So that theme of really honoring industry has come out a lot with these sculptures as the team has been thinking about them. Each of these opportunities has a not to exceed budget of $150,000. That amount includes all project expenses. So that's artist fees, design development, permits, engineering, materials, fabrication, transportation, installation, any subcontractors you would use. So it really is all inclusive. And again, you may apply to both of these opportunities or one of them. Each one is $150,000. The eligibility for these art opportunities is really focused on our region. So looking, the eligibility is that artists or artist teams must live in Oregon, Washington, California, or Idaho. I also want to point out that RAC is committed to reflecting the cultural richness of our city and our region by promoting opportunities for emerging and historically underrepresented artists. Um, we really like to engage new communities of artists as well as expand the range of artistic and cultural expression represented in the city's public art collection. And we really encourage artists and artist teams representing communities of color to participate in the application process. So moving forward to the selection process, there has been a panel particularly put together for this opportunity, this project. The panel is made up of artists, city representatives, and project design team members with diverse backgrounds and approaches to art. And they will be selecting the artists for these art opportunities. They will utilize the published evaluation criteria, which is in the RFQ for two phases of selection, the selection phase and the proposal interview phase. So the selection phase that we're in right now is the selection phase, the first phase. Once artists submit their materials through the application, the panelists will review and score the artist's materials, and then they'll select up to 6 finalists total for both the Gates and sculpture opportunities. The evaluation criteria for looking at those applications and choosing finalists is the artistic vibrancy of submitted past work. Um, so really, your work samples are very important in the application process. The other evaluation criteria are looking at the potential of the artist to meet one or more of those art goals that we just spoke about, as well as looking at the artist's interest in the project and the art goals. Once those finalists are selected, those up to 6 finalists will be paid a $2,000 honorarium to develop a design proposal that they will present to the art panel. And the art panel has additional evaluation criteria that they'll be using to look at those proposed concepts. You can look at the request for qualifications for those particular evaluation criteria. Again, that applies once those finalists are selected. And then the final step after those interviews, the panel will select which artists or art teams to receive the award for both of those artwork commissions, the Gates and the sculpture. We anticipate that the selection panel will be selecting 2 different artists for each of those opportunities, but just noting that they could choose to select one artist for both. They do reserve that right. So reviewing that process in relationship to a timeline, the due date for the application is Monday, November 24th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Make sure you get that in early um, in case you run into any issues. we anticipate that in January, we'll be able to notify finalists as well as just notify all of the applications whether or not they've been selected to move forward to that second phase. In spring of 2026, that is when artists will have the interviews. The finalists will have their interviews with the selection panel, and the panel will choose which artists for the commission. Those selected artists then enter into the design development phase when they're developing their initial proposal into that final artwork design. And then fabrication will happen from the summer of 26 through early 2027. And we anticipate the artwork will be complete and installed in early spring of 2027. I do want to note that these dates are estimates. They're based on current information, so it's possible that they could change depending on the project's construction timeline. So for this application, the requirements include there will be a question on there where you get to choose, do you want your application to be considered for just the gates, just the sculpture opportunity, or both opportunities? You'll then have a statement of interest where you can talk about why this project and the art goals interest you, why you'd be a good match for the project. And we also ask that if you're applying as a team, you describe your individual roles on the team and how you think that you'll work together. And then you'll upload a artist resume or bio, 2 pages maximum per artist, and then images for up to 8 examples of past work. And you'll be able to upload up to 2 images for each of those past works if you have a detailed image or a different view. So how do you apply to this opportunity? You will apply through RAC's opportunity portal, which is rac.org/apply. If you've used the opportunity portal before, you can just log in. If not, then you'll want to register. Once you have logged in, you will see a page that looks somewhat like this. I say somewhat because it's possible there could be other applications available there, but you'll look for the one that says CityFleet, Gates and/or Sculpture, and then push that start button to get started on the application. So this is the application navigation page. You'll see 3 sections here at the left, which the system calls tasks. The first one of those is demographic information. There's the application and then the uploading of your resume or bio. For the demographic information, we collect this information in order to address gaps in our services and also to meet reporting requirements for our funding partners. We do ask that you please share with us how you identify. We really appreciate that sharing of information. You can select multiple options or provide more detail in the provided spaces. And you're also welcome to select I prefer not to answer for any or all of those questions. And then the second task here is the application itself. You see an image right now. It shows you where you enter your contact information. This area may be already populated if you have already applied to something else through our system. You'll then scroll down to the other application questions. Here is where you select whether you want to be considered for the gates, the sculpture, or both of those opportunities. And then again, scrolling down to the statement of interest. You have 3,000 characters, including spaces, and the system will tell you how many you have left as you're typing. You can type in here or you can copy and paste as well. I would just check for formatting if you do copy and paste, make sure it looks right. There is another option if you, instead of doing a written statement, there's an option to provide a brief audio or video statement. We're not asking this to be a highly produced or edited recording. It's just a short recording that responds to the questions for the statement. And the intent of that option is to provide an opportunity for individuals who feel they can represent themselves better verbally rather than in writing. An example of this might be for applicants whom English is a second language, but there could be other considerations as well. But really, you only need to do one or the other, not both. And then the third task in that application is uploading your artist bio or resume. This will outline your creative activities and artistic accomplishments for the panel to be able to see. Please upload a PDF of no more than 2 pages. If you're applying as a team, you'll include up to 2 pages per team member, but we do need a total of no more than 6 pages. Once all of that is complete, the demographics, application, and the uploading of your bio or resume, your application is complete. You can click on the review button to see everything you've entered. You can also print a PDF from there. And then once you review everything and it looks good, you will need to submit your application. When you do submit, you will no longer be able to edit, so something to keep in mind. And that brings us to the end of our session about this opportunity at CityFleet. If you have any questions about the opportunity or about RAC's opportunity portal, please do let me know. Again, my name is Eleanor Sandys, and I am a public art project manager here at RAC. My email is esandys@rac.org. I do encourage you to read through the RFQ carefully and continue to reference it while you're writing your application. That will really help you create a more competitive application. And I also encourage you to apply before the deadline. Several days before is ideal, or even earlier, just to make sure you don't run into any issues or have questions that come up. But there is the due date is Monday, November 24th, by 11:59 p.m. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing your application. Take care.